Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and today we have a little bit of a special video because this is something I thought of when you guys sent in to me all your drafts, right? I asked for your drafts to kind of do a rate your drafts video, but I realized that with all the drafts that I have, I can kind of analyze the data and see what it can give us, right? So I received about 80 to 90 drafts and I picked out about 50, and all of the draft contributors are on the screen right now. Thank you all so much, right? We have some members at the top sent in their drafts through Telegram, and also we have some people from Instagram as well, and also on Twitter, right? So thank you all so much for contributing your drafts. This couldn't have been possible without you guys, right? So right now in this video, we are going to analyze all their drafts, right? We're going to see what insights we can get, and thereafter tomorrow, I will then release the rate your drafts video where I kind of pick out some drafts to kind of talk about the talking points, right? So for this video, we're gonna focus on what we can gain and what we can draw from this set of 50 drafts that we have here. If you do enjoy it, please help me out and give it a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and let's see what these draft contributors have given us. So we're gonna do this video in a quick fire question kind of style where I answer some of the questions that I had when I was analyzing the data for these drafts, right? So the first question I had was, of course, how many premiums did everyone go for, right? What are their strategies, right? So the community has spoken, as we can see, right? The most popular strategy being the 2 premium drafts at 88%. Right, so 88% of the drafts sent in all had 2 premiums, and then only 6% had 1 premium, and 6% also had 3 premiums. Right, so if we take a look right now, we can see the most popular strategy, and the next question then to ask is, which 2 premiums did everyone go for? Right, so with this in mind, we're going to take a look at the next section. So out of the 44 teams with only 2 premiums, it seems like the most popular 2 premiums to have is Salah and Haaland at 52%, followed by Salah and Kane at 27%, and then other combinations such as De Bruyne and Son and Kane, right? All these combinations fell under the other combination section, and 21% had those combinations, right? So honestly, if you ask me, I am going to kind of go against the community here, and I'm going to say that I do slightly prefer the Salah and Kane strategy, right? I do prefer the captaincy rotations that I can get from the Salah and Kane combination there, right? And something to add as well is that Haaland has been nursing some niggles, right, that he got from training and also some of the preseason matches. So this is something to consider, and maybe with this news, right, it would drive some people to go away from the Salah and Haaland strategy and go for the Salah and Kane strategy instead, right? So we will keep a lookout for the news as well, right? But for now, based on the 50 drafts sent in, Salah and Haaland seems to be the most popular 2 premiums to have. So following on from the previous section where we kind of see that Salah and Haaland was a very popular 2 premium strategy that people went for, right? More popular than the Salah and Kane strategy, right? Then of course the next question I had was in the Haaland and Kane debate, right? How far are the numbers apart, right? And if you take a look on the screen right now, actually it's not that far, right? 50% of the drafts had Haaland, and close to 40%, right? 38% of the drafts had Kane, right? And 8% had neither, right? It's quite questionable there, but you know, everyone has their own strategy. And then 4% had both, right? So if you take a look at the numbers here, it is not that far, right? The Haaland and Kane debate per se is still kind of close, right, at 10% difference, right? So there is kind of a struggle for people to decide whether they want to go for Haaland or Kane. The debate is still very much on, right? But as I said just now, Haaland is slightly more injury prone. He is nursing some niggles right now, and Kane is in good form, right? Preseason, he has scored a couple of goals already, coupled with vast experience in the Premier League as well, right? That's something we do have to consider as well. So definitely Kane is someone that I am considering for my draft very strongly. In fact, he is in my latest draft over Haaland, of course. So the next question we're going to answer is Salah essential or not? Right, 82% of the draft say that he is, and they send in their teams with Salah inside, and 18% of them say that he's not essential, right? So if you put this in numbers, 9 out of the 50 drafts that I received are all Salahless drafts, right? And if you ask me, I took a look at them. I really like them, right? They did look really tempting, right? So, and that obviously is the reason why some of us are actually thinking of going without Salah, right? And I do imagine that the 18% for this season is pretty high, right? I would assume that also in the previous seasons, because of how good Salah was, that he's a no-brainer and that percentage will probably be lower, right? But this season we see 18%, right? So 9 out of 50 drafts are all Salahless drafts, right? And they do look really good, right? And so I'm not gonna write off these drafts, and I'm also gonna say that I do appreciate and understand where the value in going without Salah comes from, right? But personally, I do feel like it is very dangerous to go without Salah. So because I want to start the season with a little bit less risk, so I am still going to go for Salah in my draft. So for this section, we are going to consider triple Liverpool, right? Is this a necessity? Do we have to go for it, right? And 66% of the drafts think so, right? 66% of them are on triple Liverpool, right? Followed by 32% who have double Liverpool, and then 2% who only have one Liverpool asset, right? So at least if you take a look at the data here, there's gonna be one Liverpool player at least in all the drafts, right? So I guess that's the baseline that we have there. But if you take a look at the triple Liverpool stat, only 66%. So there are a good number of us, right? If you put this into numbers, 16 out of the 50 drafts only have double Liverpool, right? And if you add in the single draft as well, then there's 17 drafts in total with less than 3 Liverpool players, right? So is it a necessity, right? 17 out of 50 people don't think so, right? But obviously, it is a strategy that is very lucrative and something that we all want to kind of consider at least, right? So the next question that I had was, if we were going to triple Liverpool, right, who is going to be the third Liverpool player on top of Salah and Trent, right? So we're going to take a look at that right now. So coming up top quite convincingly is Luis Diaz, of course, the 8.0 million midfielder. 64% of the 33 teams with triple Liverpool went for Trent, Salah and Luis Diaz, right? 24% of them went for Salah, Trent and Robertson, and then 12% of them went for other kind of combinations, right? So if you take a look, it is pretty resounding, and I think there is reason for this as well, right? Because Luis Diaz is an 8.0 million midfielder, and having him as the third player kind of holds that spot for us, that price point for us that is very good, right? And that's where we can kind of swap over to maybe a Mason Mount or Foden or Mahrez when they kind of pop off, right? So that is a good price point to have, and probably why a lot of people are going for Luis Diaz as their third Liverpool asset. So next up, we are going to look at preferred formations, right? Of the drafts that are sent in, what kind of formations do they have, right? What are the most popular ones? And coming up top is the 4-4-2 formation, right? And I do really like this as well, right? And I'll go into detail later on, right? But 48% of the drafts have a 4-4-2 formation, right? 30% of them are going big at the back, 5-3-2 formation with 5 defenders, of course. There's reason for that as well, right? And then there we have 22% of the drafts with other kinds of combinations, maybe 3 at the back, maybe a 4-3-3, right? But all those fall under the other section, and 22% of them have those kind of formations, right? So I do want to talk a little bit about the perks of having a 4-4-2 formation, and also some of the perks of having the 5-3-2 formation, right? So the 4-4-2 formation allows you to kind of hit the price points and also have that cheap defender, cheap midfielder and cheap forward, right? And that's not to say that they won't play, right? Because there are playing players in those kind of positions as well, right? And Nico Williams, maybe a 4.5 million defender as well, that's fine, right? And also a 4.5 million midfielder, that's also in Andreas Pereira, maybe a Colback, right? Maybe a Da Silva, and also in the forward positions, probably a bench faller, right? But we don't need all of them to play, right? But what a 4-4-2 allows you to do is to kind of hit all the price points that are very important, and that's why I do like it as well, right? And that could be a reason why 48% of our managers went for that as well, right? So the 4-4-2, I like it because you can go for your premium defenders, you can go for your 8 million midfielder, you can have a Salah in there. Up front, you can have your Kane or maybe Haaland, and also pairing with a Jesus, right? So it really hits all the price points, right? And I really like this 4-4-2 formation, right? But if you take a look at the 5-3-2 formation, there is reason for that as well, right? The defenders, of course, we know are the best value in the game right now, and there are a lot of really good defenders to have that are really cheap, right? They have attacking potential and they also have clean sheet potential, right? And that's why a lot of our managers also are considering the 5-3-2 formation big at the back. So next up, we are going to take a look at goalkeepers, and the reason why I've left this closer to the end of the video is because we can actually get this data on our own, right? We can kind of look at a larger sample size and just use the FPL app and kind of go by which kind of keepers are the most preferred in the whole game, right? But I did think it is still kind of interesting to take a look at within these 50 managers, who are the preferred goalkeepers, right? And 26% chose Raya, 24% went for Mendy, 18% Sanchez, 12% Melier, and 20% went for other goalkeepers like maybe Nick Pope, Ramsdale, etc. Right, so it is kind of interesting to see that the 4.5 million keepers, Raya and Sanchez, still come up slightly ahead of the rest. And also, of course, the 5.0 million Mendy, right, who is kind of a bargain this season, and someone that a lot of us are wanting to go for, right? But something to consider as well is that if we are already on a double Chelsea defense, I wouldn't recommend going for Mendy, because then if we want to go for a Chelsea attacker, which is a possibility, then we would be blocked by having Mendy as that third player already, right? So just something to take note of. So to wrap up this video, we are going to answer the question of how many forwards, right? Of course, how many playing forwards are our managers going for, right? So this is pretty resounding as well, right? 82% of the drafts are going for 2 playing forwards, right? And then they have that last forward as a non-playing forward, right? And then 6% of the drafts actually only went for 1 playing forward, and 12% of the drafts went for 3 forwards, right? So this is very interesting, right? Because there are other players who many of us aren't considering that are coming into the mix, right? Maybe like a Jamie Vardy and also an Ivan Toney, right? So these players are coming in drafts as well, and maybe they are players that we can consider, right? But obviously the popular ones are HAALAND, KANE, and Jesus, right? But definitely if we are looking to start with more forwards, then I do think that Vardy and Toney also present decent options there. But for my personal preference, I do think that 2 playing forwards is enough, right? If we go for 3, I do think that that may be slightly too much money up front, right? Where we know the defenders, as we mentioned just now, present really good value for how cheap they are, right? So generally playing forwards are also slightly more expensive, right? So that money could be better spent elsewhere in the defense or maybe even the midfield, right? So I would recommend 2 forwards, right? And also our managers who sent in their drafts, 82% of them went for 2 forwards as well, right? So that could be a good strategy going forward, right? So that brings us to the end of the video, right? Hopefully you were able to digest some of the information. If not, you can just rewatch it or stop at some sections that you kind of want to analyze in greater detail, right? But I hope that this video gave you guys some insights as to how you want to build your teams, right? Of course, if you do enjoy it, please help me out and give it a like. Subscribe if you are new around here, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye bye.